Good morning, everyone, and good day to all of you, wherever you are joining from. And welcome to the TiE50 Meet the Drapers casting call. We are glad to have Tim Draper here today, along with Alison, as well as Sarika Batra, who's the producer for the show. Not sure you were able to catch the TiE50 team speeches yesterday, but I think it was amazing. It really, again, showed that even in this pandemic, as much as everyone is so deeply affected, the innovation and the hustle is alive. And that's really the key thing behind TiE, which is the industry entrepreneur with a mission and motto of fostering entrepreneurship. And as a result of this, only 12 years back, TiE50 Showcase was started. And as part of that, we select companies, leading companies from worldwide companies in the technology and the technology enabled domains, and give them whatever support we can, because that's really the basic mission and the motto of TiE. And in this regard, yesterday's companies were just amazing. Let me see the slides. So I'll take a few minutes, just a couple of minutes to just walk you through the TiE50 program. Over the last 12 years, there have been multiple $100 million plus exit. 84% of the companies have gone on to raise more than $1 billion in funding. This year, applicants were from all over the world, from 12 countries, and even the winners are actually from 8 different countries. And many, many TiE chapters participated in the program. Excuse me. For the team, let me introduce Kumar Sripadam. He was chair of TiEcon last year, and this year we are privileged to have him just support and be the co-chair of this program. He's a GP at Elevate Capital, as well as the president of TiE Angels SV. Kamal Anand, he was chair for last year, TiE50 program, and again, we are glad to have his advisory for the program this year. On the volunteer side, because this is a totally volunteer-run program, I just want to recognize a few people from Devi Sripada, Gayatri Aras, Genevieve, we cannot do without you, Kalpi, Ritesh Patel again, Sonia Ahuja for so many good creative ideas, including the digital certificate, Vrushali, again, we don't know what we will do without you, and Viraj, whenever something is wrong, we know where to go. So once again, thank you so much. All the volunteers, the whole team, without you, we could not have done. And yesterday was a great show. We had really great companies. There are many benefits for the TiE50 participants as well as winners, including the membership to the TiE Silicon Valley, access to a lot of VCs, accelerators, angels, and the team that they can select and be part of, year-round branding on the TiE website as well, and then social media highlights and other things that TiEcon actually tracks and provides some interviews as well, and then cloud credits in the software systems, whether it's from Google or IBM or Zendesk or 11site and so many other places. Okay, I think at this point, I will hand it over to Kumar, my co-chair for the TiE50 program.
Thank you, Vipul, and welcome everyone once again. I would like to start off by thanking all our sponsors. We can't see the slides here, but I will take my best effort
I had
here.
the same issue.
Thank you, Google. Yeah, thank you, Google. Thank you, IBM, Zendesk, Freshworks, Dialogbox, and 11 Cents, and all others who, and of course, Eisner Amper, and of course the Drapers, for making this TiE50 a reality, and thank you all once again. So let me first start off by telling you what today's program is all about. And today we have TiE50 winners and Meet the Drapers casting call. This is for the Drapers in its 5th season. What is the show all about? Meet the Drapers is a groundbreaking reality show in Silicon Valley, where the viewers get to decide the next big idea in tech. The legendary Draper family meets the world's hottest new entrepreneurs on the hunt for the next billion-dollar idea. We at TiE Silicon Valley, as part of TiE50, have partnered with Tim Draper, founder of VC firm DFJ, for this show. 10 companies were selected from our TiE50 winners from yesterday, will present to Draper today and Associates for a chance to get selected for the MTD reality show season 5. Now, I would like to have the slide with Alison and Sarika, please. Welcome, Alison Gill, partner, Women Venture Partners, Director of Business and Strategy at Wilson Dow, and is going to be a guest judge on the show. Welcome, Sarika Batra, who is the showrunner and the director at the Meet the Drapers show and the person behind to run this whole program. The next person needs no introduction. The man himself. Welcome, legendary VC Tim Draper, who is the founder of Draper Associates, the VC firm DFJ, and also visit Draper University, please, which he also founded. The best thing I can talk about is go read his book, How to Be a Startup Hero, on Amazon. With that, I would welcome all the guests and dignitaries onto screen, and I'm going to hand it over to Sarika and Alison to take it over from here, and we will start with the pitches. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Kumar. Thank you, Bipul. Welcome, everyone, to the Meet the Drapers casting call. I won't take too much of your time as we'd like to get started. I think everyone's done a great job with intros to what Meet the Drapers is. We are now casting for season 5. So today, 10 entrepreneurs that we have selected that have won TiE50 are going to pitch Tim. We request that you all do a 3-minute pitch. Tim will ask you questions for a few more minutes. And at the end of the day, we will announce who made it to Meet the Drapers season 5. And with that, let's just get started.
Thank you, Sarika. And let's have the first company up here. It is going to be...
Great, and thanks. I just want to say thanks to TiEcon and Vish Mishra, who really put all this together. We really enjoy the relationship, and hopefully we'll have a lot of these entrepreneurs from TiE50 to come onto our show. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim, for those words. Yes, from the last show, we were happy to see a bunch of our companies make it into your MTD show. Thank you. First up, we have Myra from Altex. Is she up here? The first company, please.
Hi, Kumar. This is Setu from Zluri.
Mr. Kumar, first we have Zluri.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. The order was wrong. I'm sorry. Apologies. The first company up is Zluri, and we have Setu, CEO, on call. Setu, you can start.
So, hi, Tim. Hi, Alison. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you. I'll share my screen. Without further ado, let's get. Kumar, I need the rights to share my screen, please.
Saurabh, can you get the screen rights?
Yes, you can share your screen.
Thank you, Saurabh. I still can't. Host has disabled my participant screen sharing. Next, customary check. Can you all see my screens?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So thank you, Alison. Thank you, Tim, for this opportunity. My name is Setu, and I'm the co-founder, CEO of Zluri, SaaS management platform for IT teams. Without further ado, let me dive straight in. I want to start with saying what's the 2 biggest trends of the last decade. After the iPhone revolution in 2007, the decade that followed saw a sea change in the way consumers and organizations interact with technology. For any need a consumer had, there's an app for that. And for any problem that an enterprise had or organization had, the software was a solution for it. And over a period of 10 years, both consumers and organizations started feeling very comfortable interacting with software. And that has led to 2 major trends for this decade. And what is that? For anything that you need, the answer is subscription today as a consumer. And as an enterprise, you know, SaaS is eating software. And how is Gartner putting this out is something like this. And I want to focus on number 39%. 39% is the amount of software in organizations today that is SaaS based. right? And by 2028, Gartner predicts that 100% of the software will be SaaS-based, which means by 2029, we know for all practical purposes, the license-based software era is over. If that's the reality, what has it changed broadly? Once software has become faster, better, and cheaper because of SaaS delivery model, the entry point of software in a company was no more just the IT team. It became everyone in the organization. And that has led to IT managed applications, non-IT managed applications, and employee purchase applications. This wasn't the case 10 years ago. And the kind of problems that this has opened up is app proliferation, no view into SaaS inventory, reactive SaaS renewals, licensing waste, security risk, and lack of governance. To quantify this problem, a 1,000-employee company in the US today uses 190 applications on an average. This is a 2-month-old data that we have done. Today, the number is well over 200. And 70% of those applications are unknown to IT, which wasn't the case 10 years ago. And the average software spend per employee is $7,303 per year. And the whole point is 30% of that is actually wasted, and nobody's aware of that. That's the huge problem. And how are we solving it through Slurry is we have created an intelligent platform to discover, manage, secure the SaaS applications of an organization. Because of this approach, we can help companies discover unapproved applications, optimize application spend, track the utilization, return on investment of all the software they've spent on, automate security alerts, and simplify renewals, all from a single dashboard. And the ongoing value that we offer our customers is not just on discover and manage, but also on security and compliance perspective. Today, one of the biggest attack that companies fear is a SaaS supply chain attack. And all of that is completely out of purview for our organization. And we can help solve all of that through a single intelligent platform. What's been a traction for the last 4 months? So we've been taking our product to customers outside of beta since January 2021. And we have 30 plus customers and about 20,000 employees data is processed on our platform. And about 12 plus countries the users are based out of, and about $22 million spent is processed on our platform till date. And what have we achieved in terms of fundraise so far is a $2 million seed round from India and Kalari across border investors. With all of this, what we want to achieve is simplify the world's transition to SaaS. That is inevitable, but can we make it a tad bit easier for the CIO and IT teams in the organization is what we're after. Thank you for the opportunity. Like we save money for our customers, I save some time for all of us on the call.
Great. So how do you make money? Are you getting a percentage of the SaaS spend or the SaaS savings of the company?
Yes, that is one of the models we have, but I think we go with the SaaS for SaaS model. I think that's the way we went. Initially thought customers would pay us for, but I think customers believe the discovery and security is a far bigger problem than just the wastage. So they're willing to pay for the platform and part of the money they saved as well.
Setu, who's your team? Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, who's your team, Setu?
So we are already about 30 people strong, and 2 of my co-founders are from a previous startup we co-founded together, and we raised it up to $7 million in ARR. So we came out of this when we saw this problem firsthand in the previous company and spoke to 100 plus customers around the world, startups and enterprises, and that's how we came to solve this problem together.
Great.
Terrific. And how have you decided? It sounds like you haven't decided on a business model. You're still figuring that out. Whether it's SaaS for SaaS, whether it's pay for savings, pay for. What do you think it's going to be 10 years from now? What is it going to look like?
10 years from now, Tim, it is going to be a system of record for customers for anything SaaS. So it's going to be SaaS for SaaS business model. There's no doubt about that. There won't be anything around the optimization. The reason why we're still not decided is when we go for a CFO pitch, they ask for optimization savings model on that, but a CIO would ask based on the platform itself. So hence we have both models, but eventually it'll be a system of record model for which the customers would pay for us.
Do you ever have feedback that it seems a little like Big Brother? You're watching over all the employees and what apps they're using and all the and do large companies sometimes feel like that it's not a healthy environment?
No, so we haven't faced that objection from any of our customers so far, because because at the end of the day, when there is a compliance security issue, then they're supposed to answer the question. Unfortunately, today, they don't really have an answer when somebody poses them a security question. And with Zluri, they can start solving that. So they are more than welcoming for this platform.
Terrific. I think we got to move on to the next group. But thank you very much, Sethu. That's a great start you've got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you, Sethu and Zuri, and we're off to a great start there. Next up, we have a Copperwire Systems and the CEO Sunil Cherian. Copperwire offers a blockchain application platform that enables enterprises to improve blockchain conductivity in a chain-agnostic manner. Sunil, you're on.
Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Alison, Sadiga, and I'm happy to be here to see you again. First time I met you was actually part of an audience for Meet the Drapers. The opportunity for Copperwire, and it was partly inspired by you, is to look at building an enterprise middleware framework for applications to make it easy for them to use blockchain. So it's an API middleware platform. The core idea is pretty simple. Any enterprise application, like they use SQL today, should be able to use blockchain. Any application should be able to connect to any blockchain, to any cloud. We have a great team. We have already got some accolades from investors like Fabric have invested, along with TiE Angels, Band of Angels, and customers like Tada. We have recognition from Gartner in 2 out of 3 major trends in blockchain, including truth in supply chain and the abstraction layer for middleware. We have 4 customers today, including Caterpillar and several other Fortune 500 companies in the pipeline, with solid partnerships with Samsung, TIBCO, and Alteryx. The team has solid engineering, marketing, and sales experience. My co-founder in particular built a stablecoin, got it approved by Reserve Bank of India in 2015. It's called Paysay.cash. It's used as digital cash in rural India. Our investors, Fabric, has tremendous track record of exits. In fact, 5 out of 12 startups they hit have already been sold. There are 3 core problems that we're solving in supply chain space specifically: lack of visibility, lack of efficiency, and lack of trust. The fundamental issues around real-time data sharing, lack of verifiability and trust, and paper-based processes and operation silos. That affects things where you have a Suez Canal blockage or a chip shortage because people don't have visibility across the supply chains. So our solutions for that we have multi-tier supply chain visibility. Whether you have 1 tier or 5 tiers or 10 tiers, we will be able to bring them on the same substrate, add the encryption, privacy, and access controls so people can share information at the same time. And then that allows us to bring a trust and governance across supply chain and gives you efficiency and flexibility. In fact, there are 10 to 15%, 15 to 20% even losses in supply chains. And the end-to-end tracking and tracing application that we have built out allows us to go into multiple domains, from manufacturing to healthcare to food and other places. And our partnerships with AI, IoT, and data services companies and our partner applications give us a great scalability here. Some of the customer solutions that we have are around procurement, around provenance, around logistics, and they're all around track and trace across this complex ecosystem. And an interesting example of that is tracking and tracing wool from the sheep farms in Himalayas all the way to mattress manufacturers who sell direct to consumer out of Los Angeles, avocado organic mattress, and bringing the ESG governance and the security to all of these that consumers can see and understand that the product they bought is actually organic, and all backed by blockchain, making it very, very easy for people to adopt blockchain. Obviously, you know, this space is huge. The supply chain space alone is worth about $9.85 billion in the next 4 years, and blockchain has potential for creating trillions of dollars of business value. The company is scaling rapidly with all the partnerships and customers we have. We expect to be profitable in a couple of years' time. and scaling rapidly in a pure SaaS model. And our ask is $7 million cap, 20% discount, $1 million is what we are raising. We already have 750,000 committed, out of which money is going mostly towards engineering, sales, and marketing. Thank you for the opportunity to pitch on Meet the Drapers Live.
Terrific. So what's the deal you're doing with Botco?
Sorry?
You said you had customers, Caterpillar, Samsung, Botco, right? Did you say
BBO Poker Tables is a manufacturing company that manufactures.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was Botco. So yeah, so they're all manufacturing companies, and you're managing their supply chain, and you're keeping track of things. What is it that's the pain point in, say, Caterpillar, where they said, we've got to do this?
So,
you know, there's no other way to do it.
Absolutely. As a large OEM, they have 10,000 suppliers. They only know the first tier of about 1,500 suppliers. They don't even know who is in tier 2 or tier 3, because people are afraid to share information due to fears of being bypassed. So the ability to deal with COVID, ability to scale up business after COVID, all of these are suspect because they don't know who the people are and what difficulties they're facing. So by bringing them onto one network and then having the privacy controls to make sure that nobody bypasses anybody, that was key.
Oh, thank you, Sunil. I have a question, Tim. Sorry to speak over.
Go ahead.
Sunil, what makes you uniquely qualified to create this company?
So I've been in the networking space since early 90s, started with X.25 and then TCP/IP and site-to-site VPNs and firewalls and infrastructure. So I've had several startup exits, couple of IPOs there. So that infrastructure, along with my co-founders who have built PKI infrastructure and blockchain infrastructure for many years and ERP software, it's a combination of the set of things that need to be in place to make this happen.
Great.
What's the competition look like? I keep seeing companies like this.
Yes. The expected competition would be over time, big companies like Oracle and SAP, and IBM has obviously a great blockchain practice in the consulting space. And the productized API middleware approach, there are people approaching this in the public blockchain, not many in the private blockchain. Nobody actually bundles the applications and vertically from the supply chain focused applications all the way down to the layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3 of the stack.
Terrific. Okay, we're going to have to move on to the next group. Thanks so much, Sunil.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. Next up, we have iWaterTech. How many times I had to run out to shut off my sprinklers just because there's some rain? iWaterTech is going to tell us all about how to conserve water. And here we have Connor telling us his story and experiences with iWaterTech.
Absolutely.
You're on.
Can you see and hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So my name is Connor. Thank you for the introduction. I'm here today to seeking $250,000 for 4.9% of my company. 80 gallons a day. That's how much you and I consume in water. That's pre-washing the dishes. That's actually washing the dishes, the shower, everything. And when you think about the production cost for that water, for every 1 gallon you and I consume, it actually takes almost another whole gallon to get it to us and some energy. So that 80 becomes 156 gallons per person every day. And according to the Government Office of Accountability, National Geographic, and other research institutions, at this rate, 40 states within our decade will be experiencing a water shortage. So we knew we had to do something. And so we started talking to utilities, hotels, family, friends, travelers, seeing what they would be interested in. And we came up with iWater. iWater is a suite of connected sensors and valves that work discreetly to reduce the water waste where it occurs. Simply put, we allocate the correct amount of water for the activity. So we started with our shower device. Our shower device is seen here. It actually sits behind the shower head and modulates the flow of water. It does not change the experience at all because we understand that showers are serene, a moment of peace, and it gives you actual use with our app. So it gives you data, it gives you suggestions, and it connects to a greater water community. So you're able to understand what is in your water. We retrofit onto most shower heads in the market with 97%. A 2-minute install is incredibly quick and easy. You set it and forget it. And that device across our entire suite is able to reclaim 50 gallons of water a day per person. And the bulk of that is just understanding what we're doing with our water. So that's understanding the temperature we're running, the time of day with which we use it, the pressure, start, and flow time. But really what sets iWater apart is our AI algorithm. It uncovers routines, preferences, and patterns, allowing us to drill further into those savings, getting us that extra about 17 gallons, comparatively speaking, to our market. That leads to a reduced water bill and energy bill that you see every month. We've had demos and trials in hotels. That's actually where we get most of our traction early on. And in one of our trials, specifically in Singapore with Hotel Jen, part of the Shangri-La chain, we were able to realize about a recovery of around $37,000 a year in reduced operating costs and 2 million gallons of water saved, all by using our devices and our suite. Together, we can reclaim 6 trillion gallons a year of water, all backed by data, all without changing your experience, and all by using what you already have. So we're iWater, and we believe in a world without wasted water. Thank you so much.
I don't understand why it doesn't change your experience in the shower. I mean, those little wimpy shower heads make it so you can't have a good shower. And
sure,
are you cutting me off in the middle of the shower, or what are you doing?
No, sir. So what we're doing is when you're under the shower, you have full flow, what you normally expect, what you're used to. When you step out of the flow to either lather, shave, do whatever, we reduce the flow to 20%, and that's consistent through the suite. So we modulate based on the activity.
It's a really cool product. I love it, Connor. I want it. The question is, what's your go-to market strategy, and are you selling directly to consumers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we do plan to sell directly to consumers. However, for our first, to get us to Q1 of next year, we're going to target hotels. That's been our strongest foothold in the beachhead. So we do have a plan to get to consumers. We're actually working with a utility data provider to wholesale to utilities to get to consumers. But the first step.
Did you say how big your market is?
Sure. So the total available market or TAM is $114 billion, and our service available market is about $1 billion. That's 17.
The 114 billion is all the water in the world, and the 1 billion is how many of your devices you could sell out there.
Those are dollars. So there's 17 million global hotel rooms and about 150 million showers specifically within the United States.
And it's just this device. What does this evolve into something? How do you charge by the month? How are you going to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you buy the device out front. With hotels, we're actually using a lease-to-own model, especially in the wake of COVID. So we take half of the realized savings up front. So we carry the cost until that's paid back. And then we charge $150 per month per device for access to dashboards and data. And hotels have found that's particularly useful because they're able to see if, hey, the shower's been on for 3 hours. Maybe go up there and turn that off. Or this guest has checked out and their water is still running. Maybe go and turn that off.
Connor, did you
say 150? Is that $1.50 or $150?
$1.50. $1.50.
All right. And lastly, did you say in your pitch what your current revenues are? It might have been
in
there.
So we're pre-revenue at the moment. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Connor. This is great. We'll have to move on to the next group.
Great. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Thanks, Tim and Alison. We're getting going here. Next up, we have a company, TrueLark. TrueLark is an automated communication platform which handles millions of customers' support calls each year. To tell us all about TrueLark, we have Srivatsan Lakshman, who is the CEO. You're on, Srivatsan.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Kumar. Thank you, Tim. Hello, everyone. I'm Srivatsan, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of TrueLark. Thank you for the opportunity to be on this program today. At TrueLark, we have developed an AI-led customer experience platform. Our patented MidGo conversational AI technology enables brands to attract, support, and upsell clients 24/7, effortlessly, and across multiple channels. We focus on appointment-driven businesses, such as dental offices, salons, and spas. These businesses frequently have a customer communication problem. They miss calls during and after business hours. They are slow to follow up on leads, and they struggle with high front-desk staff attrition. All these inevitably lead to an erosion in brand value, profitability, and growth. With TrueLark, these businesses will never miss a call again, or even a text or a chat message from a customer, or a lead submission on their website, or even on their social media platform. TrueLark always responds instantly via text to recommend and book the right services and provide delightfully smooth 24/7 support. Businesses see an immediate increase in revenue as TrueLark converts phone calls and website visitors into booked appointments. It also engages new leads instantly and schedules their first visits automatically. Businesses improve their customer retention as well, effortlessly, again, as TrueLark offers accurate, timely information about services, add-ons, and pricing. And it even upsells and reappoints customers through automated campaigns. Lastly, TrueLark helps businesses reduce cost by maximizing automation. You can dramatically reduce call center costs by sending all inquiries directly to TrueLark, or you can use TrueLark as a backup to your front desk, both during and after business hours. We started commercializing our solution in 2018, and today we have more than 350 rooftops across 20 different states in the country. Our current revenue run rate is at $750,000 in ARR, and we have a clear path to 2 million ARR in 2021. Just the expand potential in our landed logos is north of 20 million ARR today. We have multiple national beauty and wellness chains that are fully penetrated, like TrueRest, Restore, and Lunchbox Wax. We've also landed some large multi-location accounts like ChrisAd, which is 1,000+ dental practices, and European Wax Center with 800+ studios. Through the course of this year, we will expand into these, and as we continue to add more logos into our pipeline. And that's a quick introduction to TrueLark. And thank you once again for the opportunity to tell a story today.
So if I'm a dentist, how much do I pay for TrueLark? What would that be? Is it a monthly, or what? How much is it?
It is a monthly fee that you pay. $500 a month per location. And we typically have an annual contract on that. If you pay annual, you have a 20% discount.
But you do, and you don't take any value from the bookings that you create in your software.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we initially launched this product, we launched it in the beauty space, and we priced it at $1 a booking, one booking, $1. And no commitments. And as the product matured and it started to look like more of a broader customer service platform than just bookings, we started to see that there's an opportunity to have a subscription-based model, and with different levels of pricing and add-ons for various features. So there's still an opportunity to do per booking pricing, maybe in the dental market. But at this point, I think subscription is where we're going with.
What can't they just have a website that has a calendar and they just book it? And isn't that a lot easier than calling in and having some remote voice say, "Would you like to be booked for Wednesday at 2?"
Yeah, our solution is by a text, so we don't deliver the solution by voice.
Oh, this is a text.
Text interaction, right? And the second is that customers like to have the channel of choice. So if you're driving, then you certainly want to be calling, and you want to have someone respond on the phone. But if you're going in and out of meetings and you want to get something scheduled, you'd rather use a text channel, right? And oftentimes, if it's an online booking interaction on the website, there's just not enough feedback in terms of guiding you to the right services or add-ons, etc. There's no opportunity to upsell, and it's so much easier to customize that workflow. Even today, the majority of dental offices in the country don't have online booking set up.
Aren't there a whole bunch of text bots out there that are already doing stuff like this? I've heard of many of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's the idea of using chatbots for customer service is certainly not new. It's been around for a few years. But I think the challenge in this space is that every business and every brand is unique. And we've built actually our technology ground up, which allows very highly customizable solutions for each brand without the need for additional training data. As you move from, let's say, like a TrueRest to a Lunchbox Wax, or from a Lunchbox Wax to a dental practice. And that's the critical thing that enables the solution.
I have no more questions.
Yeah, Tim, you asked the question I was going to ask. Who are your competitors? What makes you unique? And you answered that. So thank you.
Terrific. Great. We'll move on. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Srivatsan. Next up, we have Botco.ai, who is transforming the conversational marketing scene with easy-to-build chatbot technology. We have Rebecca Clyde, CEO. You're on, Rebecca.
Hi, how's everybody doing? I'm just trying to share my screen here, see if this works. How's everybody this morning?
Great. How are you doing?
Great.
Great, thank you. All right, are you able to see my screen right now?
Yep.
Yes.
A double screen, correct? Oh, let me switch my display settings. There we go. I think that's better.
Yeah, better.
Great. Hello, everyone. So my name is Rebecca Clyde, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Botco AI. Very excited to be here with you today. So as the chief medical officer of my family, I have found that scheduling appointments for my children's vaccinations or for their wellness checkups has always created a huge amount of frustration. And last year, healthcare providers paid for this frustration very heavily. They lost almost $50 billion in revenue because they were not prepared to deal with their patients in a digital fashion. Now, we know that the pandemic completely changed everything in the healthcare industry. A lot of these digital engagement solutions that used to be optional now became required. And that is why at Botco AI, we've created a solution that makes it as easy to schedule a healthcare appointment as it is to text a friend. And this means that providers are able to increase the number of appointments they're scheduling and reduce the expensive cost of managing huge call centers and dealing with a lot of hold times and delays. Patients love our product because we make it much easier for them to get into their provider. And then providers love it too because we're saving them significantly. We have found that with healthcare providers that use Botco AI, they're able to accelerate their revenue cycles by 103%. So here you have a glimpse at some of the customers that are using our product. All of them are the #1 in their category, including companies like American Addiction Centers and STC Health. These companies have actually renewed with us, doubling their commitment this year because they have been able to expand and grow and scale using Botco AI. These companies are paying anywhere from $20,000 a year to use our product, all the way up to $80,000 a year. That's how much value we're bringing to their business. And just to give you a sense of our growth in the last year, we grew 400% in 2020, and we are now approaching 400,000 in annual recurring revenue. So you're probably wondering what makes us so different. The reason that we can succeed is because we're very focused on that pre-admissions workflow in the healthcare industry. So all those questions people have about, does my insurance plan cover this benefit? Can I come in for this treatment? Is this provider and specialist available? That complex level of question we are able to handle because we connect into healthcare systems of record and we have ontologies that can support them. Today, because we've handled over 1 million healthcare conversations, we can successfully manage those with 95% success, meaning that only in less than 5% of the cases is a live agent ever required. So I have a tremendous co-founding team. It's not just me here doing all the great work. Chris Mehta, our CTO, he's an MIT computer science graduate. Anu Shukla, she's a Bay Area serial entrepreneur. And Deborah McGinnis, our chief science officer, who built the Knowledge Systems Lab at Stanford. Together, we have the experience to build and scale the next billion-dollar AI company. And we would love for the Drapers to partner with us on this exciting journey. Thank you.
Terrific. Well, look, there have been a lot of chatbots. In fact, there was one just before.
Yeah, TrueLark right before.
Why is this going to be anything different? And chatbots have had sort of like there was a lot of promise early, and then none of them really picked up. And I think it's just because it was so easy to create a chatbot company. How are you going to win here? How are you going to be, $1 billion, $10 billion business?
Sure. Our focus has been specifically on healthcare workflows. And so if you think about all of the things that need to happen for somebody to answer a question about your insurance, being able to cover a specific type of treatment or appointment, that's actually a very complex workflow. We have the ability to connect into the systems of record so that when somebody says, hey, I'm on United, can this benefit be covered by my insurance? That's actually a very complex question. We have to understand what you mean. We have to know what system to look up to be able to answer your question. And then we need to be able to recommend a next best action. So I like to think of my product as barely, 20% chat. And the rest, the other 80% is really automation. And it's connecting into integrations of various systems in order to be able to intelligently answer those questions. That's the biggest difference. And then the other thing is that the failed companies that you're talking about, they did not have an area of focus. We have completely focused around this particular vertical because we know the repeatability and the specialization of the language and the terminology is really, really important.
Great. Rebecca, what do you see as a major struggle that you have coming up, and how do you plan to overcome it?
Yes, so the EHR systems in healthcare there's two types. I like to call the ones that are open systems. They have APIs. They're very willing to work with the developer community like us, so we can plug into those systems and talk to each other using APIs. And there's a whole other set that are not. They're closed systems. They're stuck in the past. They don't want to move forward. And so we're finding that that's really the struggle. Fortunately, the modern healthcare providers today are trying to partner more with the open systems, but some of them have these legacy contracts they can't get out of. And so that means that if they're working with a closed system, they're stuck in that system for a few years until they can get out of those contracts. So in the meantime, while we're growing, we're focusing on the open systems because that's where we see the opportunity for growth, for innovation, and for really moving these experiences forward.
Great.
Great, thanks. Rebecca, did you say something about your background? What is your background?
Yes, so I have a business background. I have an MBA, and I actually started my career at Intel, where I was helping them drive several digital health initiatives with their technology. And then I also, previously to starting this startup, built a $10 million agency focused on helping healthcare companies with their marketing acquisition efforts. So I'm very familiar with the healthcare industry and the technology industry.
Terrific. Okay, thanks, Rebecca. We're going to move on.
It's good to meet you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rebecca. And let me hand this over now to Vipul to drive the next 5 companies. Thank you.
Thanks, Kumar. Thanks, Rebecca. Go Botco. Next up, we have Derek Redcliffe from Chimera XR. They are trying to accelerate as well as revolutionize and make it more fun to train for the first responders using the AR/VR technology. Go, Derek.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Chimera XR. With me is Derek, my co-founder. and we help first responders train anywhere, anytime through virtual reality-based simulators. As many of you know, law enforcement in particular has been under increasing scrutiny this year after poor use of force decisions and avoidable accidents. This is a training problem. We can help fill the gap in training using virtual reality. Virtual reality as a tool does not care if there's a COVID situation, travel restrictions, or anything preventing law enforcement currently from training. Our system can allow for agencies to train remotely and connect instructors and resources to the people that need them in those agencies. As a tool, virtual reality offers much more immersion than anything currently used in the industry. Real-world scenarios have high risk and high stress circumstances, and we know this being law enforcement and military professionals ourselves. This system is the only one that truly addresses those realities. It's also the most cost-effective, being 10 times less costly to buy than the current simulators on the market and 20 times less costly to maintain. It's also the easiest system to use. Our users are in the 40 and 50s age brackets and still find it very, very easy to get into. And it's a wide range of options that we offer in this simulation. So de-escalation, tactics, communications-based training. It's cost-effective and allows for specialized, expensive, and risky events to be trained and scenarios to be trained with high return on investment because of that. This is the product's hardware, and the hardware itself fits in the case you see on the bottom left, which means it's highly mobile and portable. It fits in the overhead on an airplane for reference. So it's a 2-minute setup, and it means that you can use the system literally anywhere indoors and almost anywhere outdoors as well, which is a first for simulation. We're the only veteran-owned VR simulation company. We raised $300,000 to date, launched our first product after receiving that investment. Within the first 2 weeks of the launch, we had our first purchase, which is the National Police Force in Canada, who bought 31,000 in units. So we're already off to the races, but we have upcoming demonstrations twice with the FBI next month, as well as with other national police forces, and have a projected $500,000 in revenue this year. How do we get so much traction? Well, we're the only company that's built software with accurate vehicle ballistics, multi-user network training, and realistic firearms tools, as well as being compatible with augmented reality. We've paid nothing to get our leads thus far, and we believe we can hit a 9 million ARR by 2025 through investing in these key areas from raising $1 million this year. We believe if we invest in our first responders, they will invest in us, they will support us. So we're going to create a new category in simulation. Thank you for your time.
That's great. How much does it cost? How much does the equipment cost you? And then how do you price out the service, or just what's your net revenue stream from that? I'm a police force and I need 3 of these things. How much do I pay for the 3? And then do I pay an ongoing fee for more training modules, or how's it work?
Right. So there's an upfront product cost of $12,000 per unit. We make 40 to 50% margins on that, depending on the details of what they order and the options. And then there's an ongoing annual subscription to get the updated content, scenarios, and access to the global marketplace of guided instruction and scenarios that are created by our partners around the world.
And how much is that?
$1,500 per unit per year.
Okay, and Taylor, why do you think that the world needs this solution, and why are you uniquely qualified to provide this solution?
The world needs a solution like this because accessibility and training is the reason we're seeing so many incidents like we have in the past year with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. There's a lack of accessibility to training, and technology can help close that gap. But the technology that we've been using for 25 years that Derek and I have been operating in the military is outdated, it's antiquated. Essentially, it's projecting a video on a big screen and kind of following it along. So we're uniquely qualified because we've got the experience of where we've been in simulation. There's been no innovation in 25 years. It's been very stagnant. We see this as a starting point, as augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality are really only in their infancy in a lot of ways. So hardware is going to continue to get better, which supports our big software play.
Thank you.
So what does this look like in 10 years? What is it, a content provider, or what does it look like?
I think in 10 years, we are going to be providing products primarily in a software fashion. We're planning to be hardware agnostic in terms of headsets or different kinds of technology, because there's going to continue to be innovation there. But we're also going to continue to innovate the way to integrate tools. One of our specialties is we've got a patent for a patent pending device for how we integrate existing law enforcement tools like firearms into our software. So it's important that they use their actual hardware, their actual hands-on tools, and not controllers when they're training, which means that's going to continue to have to develop with it. And that's something our competitors are not doing.
Yeah, I did this with a medevac VR simulation, and it was this panic scenario. It's so scary. Kind of fun to see that. I mean, I think this is probably a really good thing to do. My only concerns on how big that market gets, but eventually.
Can I ask one more question, Taylor? When you get funded, who will be your next executive hire?
So we need a CTO. We need a stronger technical person on the executive, because the future is going to be including artificial intelligence. We've already got plans and prototypes with different ways to integrate neurological, like mental health aspects into our system. So there's quite a big future in, again, creating a category in simulation that doesn't exist, which is intelligent coaching systems. And that's going to be heavily focused on the software and the technology aspect. So we need to build up our technology team.
Great.
Terrific. Thanks, Derek. We're going to move on.
Thanks, Taylor and Chimera. I think your market can be bigger if you go to the arcade and come to the nearby one to my house as well. That would be really fun. Really fun. Next up, we have Myra Arshad, CEO of what is called Alternative Textiles, or in short, Altex. They're really trying to do something innovative out of Canada, take the food waste and convert into polyester-like biodegradable fabric. Over to you, Myra.
Awesome. Thanks, Vipul. Great to meet everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'm going to go ahead and get started sharing my screen. Okay, so jumping right into it, like Vipul mentioned, Altex is a seed stage startup creating what we believe to be the most sustainable polyester alternative fabric that's re-engineered from food waste. So fashion is actually one of the most polluting industries in the entire planet. But more specifically, the largest and most polluting subsector of fashion manufacturing is actually polyester. It's found in 65% of all of our closets. It's this plastic fossil fuel-based fabric that creates 7 million annual tons of landfill waste, 40 trillion ocean microplastics a year. And despite the rise of conscious consumerism and over 60% of consumers indicating a willingness to pay a premium for the clothes we wear, polyester is still the subsector that lacks fully recyclable, fully biodegradable, and circular alternatives because of its very specific durability, mechanical, and performance requirements that haven't been successfully replicated to date. Altex's waste-to-wardrobe solution solves this problem by engineering what we believe to be the world's most sustainable polyester alternative, created from one of the world's largest landfill contributors, which is food waste. So our circular solution begins with large-scale post-industrial food waste that's donated to us through CSR partnerships with food processors. Food waste tends to be rich in starch and sugars, which go through our novel fermentation and biosynthesis process to create a bioplastic. The bioplastic is then reinforced with a unique combination of additives and nanocomposites to give the plastic a polyester-like performance. And the biofiber that results from that process is then manufactured by Altex in-house and subcontracted out to our partner textile mills, where it's woven and knitted to any polyester equivalent fabric with matching polyester performance, but superior circularity, biodegradability, carbon neutrality, and overall sustainability. So more along that line, the result of a single t-shirt created using Altex fabric can divert 1 kilogram of food waste from landfills, 9 kilograms of carbon emissions from the atmosphere, and 4 grams of microplastics from polluting the ocean, which can clearly add up to some big impacts. So switching gears to the competitive slide, this is what our competitive market looks like right now. And the most direct competitor in this space right now, the one that has penetrated the market and really the only widely adopted solution to polyester, is this bucket over here. So the recycled synthetic fabrics largely being recycled polyester. Despite its accessibility, recycled polyester is receiving a lot of greenwashing backlash because it doesn't have any disposal solutions, cannot be biodegraded, can't be recycled. It's going to end up in landfills, and it also contributes to microplastic pollution. In the other bucket here, we have further competitors who are creating fabrics from biosources that are more circular but haven't been able to successfully match polyester's performance metrics and are also more expensive because they don't fit into polyester's existing manufacturing system and aren't as scalable. Competitively speaking, Altex brings the performance aspects of the former bucket with the circularity of the previous bucket by offering a fully circular solution that doesn't compromise performance and is cost competitive because it fits into polyester's existing manufacturing system and uses a low-cost feedstock, which is food waste. So stepping back and looking at the larger market, fashion manufacturing is a textile manufacturing rather is a $1 trillion industry. Within that, sustainable textile manufacturing is $60 billion, growing 11% year over year. We're projecting a market capture of about 5 to 6%, which represents 15 large-scale brands, and that leads to a projected ARR of $4 billion. So long way to go, but we're about 2 years into the journey now, and we've successfully prototyped our fiber. So we've converted food waste to fiber with a strength that's already greater than cotton and getting very close to polyester. We raised $1.5 million in dilutive and non-dilutive funding. We have 10 LOIs from brands at agreed upon price points and quantities, as well as enough food waste secure to manufacture 500,000 meters of fabric. And here's the team behind the magic. So I have a family background in textile manufacturing. This industry is very, very close to my heart. Have a professional background in sales and marketing, and my co-founders here have the technical chops in the biochemistry and the science behind it all. We're also well supported by advisors spanning various industries, industry partners such as Tentry, as well as Lululemon, and thought leaders in the actual science we're building. So I'll stop there. Thanks for the time. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, you use food for this. Don't you get ants in your closet, or don't all the bugs swarm around these shirts?
Thankfully not. So what we're actually doing here is we're deconstructing the food waste at a very chemical level, and we're essentially extracting only the sugars present within the food waste, and we're completely chemically reconfiguring that into a bioplastic. So there's no remnants whatsoever of the food waste at all. In terms of the actual durability and the biodegradation, we often get the question of, is this going to rot off my body as I'm wearing it? Are bugs going to be all over me and so forth? The biodegradation is not triggered until it's in a moisture-rich, microbe-rich environment, such as a composting facility. And you can think about that in comparison to cotton. Cotton is also a biodegradable fabric and actually biodegrades in the same way. So you will not have ants on your body.
Well, but if you wash it, it disappears. All of it disintegrates, doesn't it?
Absolutely not. So the whole goal here, and the reason we think we truly have a technology to replace polyester is because we've created something that matches or is getting very close to matching polyester's mechanical properties. So similar to how you can wash polyester and over again, and you don't see that wear and tear that you see in materials like cotton, the fabric will not disintegrate and will continue to hold durability. We've essentially, to give you context, are innovating on a polymer within polyester's family. So you can think of this as simply a polyester that's just way more sustainable.
Myra, are you wearing your product right now, or have you worn it? Is it comfortable?
I hope to wear it very soon. So the stage we're in right now is pre-fabric. So we've created the fiber, and the funds that we've just raised, we're scaling up the fiber manufacturing process to get it woven into an actual fabric. So we don't have a fabric in hand today. We're expecting to have our first watch by early 2022. But the early indications of the fiber, which we've been able to extrapolate out into what a fabric will feel like, is very promising. The feel is somewhere between a cotton and a polyester. So hopefully I can send off some Altex gear to all of you one day.
Great. And your advisory board member who's on Lululemon has already placed one of those LOIs with you?
So Lululemon, we're in talks with right now. We don't have an LOI with them. Any process with some of these larger scale brands is very extensive. But Ruth, who's been at Lululemon for 7 years, was a senior director of raw material, has been a guide in terms of the metrics and the specs that brands like Lululemon look for. Our LOIs are with different brands, which we can't disclose at this time, but large and very quick growing brands.
Thank you.
Terrific. Okay, we're going to have to move on. Thanks, Myra.
All right, great to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Myra and Voltex. Looks like a really impactful company in making. Next up, we have Forest Devices, and Stephen Morrow will be joining us. They help first responders actually very early detect and classification of type of stroke, which helps save lives. Forest Devices, all yours.
Thank you. So this is actually Matt Kessinger, the CEO of Forest. I will be talking to you today. Thank you all for your time and attention. I'm here to talk about a fate worse than death. A fate worse than death is a phrase that I have heard the family members of stroke victims use to describe the disease that has afflicted their loved ones. Because stroke does not lead to death in most cases. It leads to permanent disability. People who have stroke are unable to walk, talk, or take care of themselves for the rest of their lives. The disease is the most disabling on earth in every single country. The only thing that can be done to prevent permanent disability is early treatment. And every minute of delay, 2 million more brain cells die. Treatment is only available at specialized hospitals. In the Western world, that means about 5% of hospitals in North America and Europe. And so the greatest cause of delay, the single greatest cause of permanent disability, is going to the wrong hospital because your EMT or paramedic missed the stroke. So I was an EMT on ambulances in Boston over a decade ago. I learned firsthand how hard it is to identify stroke in the real world. I then went to medical school, and during and after which I became a leading researcher in pre-hospital stroke detection. I'm the lead author on one of the largest pre-hospital stroke detection studies that's been done in the US to date. What we have right now, the standard of care, is a very simplistic clinical exam. So I look at your face and I say, smile. I ask you to hold up your arms for 10 seconds. And then I ask you to grip my fingers, squeeze them. That's it. That's what I had 10 years ago, and that's what we still have on the trucks today. So 6 years ago, I co-founded Forest Devices to create an objective way to identify stroke. We've created a rapidly deployable, portable, durable EEG that uses AI to detect stroke. Now, this need is so great that even before regulatory clearance, we have had half a dozen future customers, hospital systems and governments, unsolicited, come to us and ask to design and pay for the clinical trials that would get it to market. I don't know of any other medical device company ever that has had that situation. Each of these customers conducted global searches for technologies that were trying to solve this problem, and each of them selected exclusively AlphaStroke to partner with. Look, in other words, customers wanted to pay for a solution that didn't exist. They went and found all of the people on earth, that's not an exaggeration, all of the people on earth trying to solve this problem, and they all partnered with us after independently evaluating those technologies. So looking forward to your questions.
How big a number, how can we get market sizing around this? How many stroke victims, and then how much do you charge per detection, or do you charge per detection, or do you charge for the device? How do you work your business model?
Razor blade. The single-use disposable headset is $200. So total market size is the number of suspected strokes times that number. But suspected strokes is about 4 or 5 times larger than actual strokes.
And how many is that?
In the US, 4 million suspected strokes per year. So in the US alone, 800 million is a total addressable market.
Yeah, this is interesting. My partner, Lori Brooke at Women Venture Partners, her husband had a stroke in his early 50s, and he luckily made it to the right hospital in San Francisco that knew how to treat the stroke, and he's made a pretty remarkable recovery. But it would have been great to detect it before, you know? Right.
Every minute counts.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they have why wouldn't they be able to reuse the thing they put on their heads?
It has to do with the dynamics of the market. In pre-hospital, we don't do that. So anything that touches a patient doesn't ever touch any other patient. It has to be disposable.
Are you planning to expand globally, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. We have letters of intent from 4 countries right now.
And as a detection device, is it a 510K that you have to go through, or any FDA stuff you got to deal with?
Yes. So our first unsolicited customer was the Alberta Health Services. They have they give healthcare to 11% of Canada, and they're a single customer for us. They designed and developed and are paying for a study that has just begun, and FDA has indicated that is sufficient for U.S. market clearance. So the study that we've just started will be sufficient for both Canada and the U.S.
And is it a 510K or a?
Yes, it's a class 2.
Whole thing. Yeah. Okay. Great. I have no other questions. Okay, we'll move on. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay. Thanks, Forest Devices. Next, moving to EarthSense, and CEO Chinmay is going to be presenting. They are trying to bring robotics to ag tech, for plantation to getting the phenotype data to a whole bunch of other things to improve the efficiency of the agriculture. Chinmay?
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Vipul. It's great to be here. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Let me know if everybody sees it. Is this coming across okay?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. So Tim and Alison, it's really great to join you. We are presenting today from Urbana-Champaign, Illinois. Girish is here with me. He's the co-founder and CTO. We founded EarthSense to create robotics and AI products to help manage our planet better. So really, at heart, EarthSense is a terraforming company. While Elon is making the rockets, we've started making the most important tech that we're going to need on Mars, teams of autonomous robots. But first, we think we need some serious terraforming right here on Earth. We're starting with the 200 million acres of prime farmland in the US Midwest. This land lies bare 8 months out of the year, leading to enormous soil erosion, soil carbon loss, fertilizer runoff, and a whole host of problems. Plus, as weeds and pests start colonizing these bare lands, farmers have to spend a couple $100 more on every acre on fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides. So in short, it's a money-losing proposition. There's a really simple solution to this, actually. Cover crops. So these are plants that protect and enrich the soil. They keep out pests, and on top of all of that, they sequester carbon. Unfortunately, for the vast majority of farmers, planting cover crops is an added hassle on top of their already very busy schedules. And because most farmers can really only plant cover crops after harvesting corn, for example, in October, the cover crop can't really grow much before everything just freezes over. So to solve this major problem, we've created robots that plant cover crops starting as early as July, right after the corn is done growing. So starting this year, we're scaling up our cover crop planting service, starting with 1,000 acres. We've already have farmers signed up. Our service can be priced at least 5 times lower than planting with tractors or airplanes. And most importantly, it removes all the hassle from the farmers. Based on the studies that we've done, this will deliver at least $50 per acre value to farmers in the form of carbon credits, reduced chemical usage, as well as increased yield. And then, of course, the huge benefit to society is that these cover crops would sequester 75 million tons of carbon every year just in the US Midwest. So over the last 3 years, we've already developed the lowest cost autonomous ag robotics platform that's positioning us to capture this massive opportunity. We've matured our field autonomy and AI technologies in a variety of major crops, including corn and soybean. And we've developed the AI that enables our robots to navigate in and really understand the under canopy environment. We've also developed apps that make it really easy for people to deploy teams of robots. Since 2018, we actually started monetizing this core technology in a beachhead market, product development at major agricultural enterprise companies, where the data that we currently provide is worth over $100 million a year to the industry. Our under canopy autonomy and machine learning are already improving these enterprise customers' multi-billion-dollar product development pipelines. And so far, even with our current deployments, we've earned over $1 million in hardware and SaaS revenues. We're currently raising a $2 million seed round, and over half of that is already committed. We'd love for you to be a part of the EarthSense mission and help heal our planet. Thank you.
So, do you make the little car that goes down there? You make the device that plants the seeds, and you make the device that measures what's happening to the plants, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we're a fully integrated technology company. The hardware, software, cloud, analytics, all of that is ours.
And why wouldn't you just use somebody else's vehicle? And
that's a great question. We would have loved to. So when we started back in 2017, we're like, okay, are there any off-the-shelf available hardware that we can use? And it ended up being the case that nobody else had made quite the right thing. So it was a crazy thing to do, but we ended up making our own, first a bunch of 3D printed prototypes, and then now a fully fledged agricultural robot.
And how much? Go through your business model. How much do these things cost, and then how do you charge?
Yeah. So I'll split it up into two main market segments. So the enterprise customers, the COGS of our robot is right now $7,500. They are paying us $25,000 just for the hardware. And then on top of that, we are pricing our data analysis at $5 per plot per season. They run well over 50 million plots every year. So that's on the enterprise SaaS side. On the farmer side, there's nothing on the seed planting robots that will make them cost anywhere more than $500 a pop at scale. And we can charge at least $5 per acre. That's an immediate yes. And that gives us a pretty solid margin on the cover crop planting service as well.
I thought you said it was $2 per acre, but that's your cost?
$2 is price floor. Yeah. We can go as low as $2, still make money, but farmers are willing to pay significantly more.
I'm not sure I understand the difference between the farmer and the enterprise.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Monsantos of the world create the seed that they sell to the farmers. Their product development process is very driven by the industry competition, right? Monsanto.
I see. So they're for the data, but and do they also pay for the hardware, for the device going up and down the? I see. And the farmer doesn't pay for that device.
They don't want to maintain their own fleet of robots. They're like, yeah, just come in and plant cover crops. We'll pay you per acre.
Oh.
Yeah. So service model works great for them.
Great. Sorry, go ahead, Alison.
Oh, thanks, Tim. Yeah, Chinmay, this is a really cool company. I love it. What motivated you to start this company? Just curious.
That's a fantastic question. So my background is actually in bioinformatics, bio-nanotechnology for human health cancer diagnostics. As I was finishing up my PhD, there was this huge crisis of farmer suicides going on in India. I'm originally from India, as is Girish. I was like, okay, what am I doing with all my technical expertise? How can I help? So I ended up translating that human health to agricultural health, soil health, and then Girish, who has a PhD from Georgia Tech in aerospace and postdoc from MIT, he's the robotics and AI expert. So we actually went to school together back in India. We're like, hey, this is a great place to bring AI technologies to the market and really have a massive positive experience impact on the world. So really a sort of mission-driven company looking at very specific commercial milestones in the short run, but world-changing impact in the long run.
Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks. We're going to have to move on.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye. Thanks, Chinmay. Thanks, Girish. What a company. Great story. Full impact on the farmers as well as ag tech and whatnot. Next up, and our last company for the day today is Centara. We know that how hungry the AI compute is, and they're trying to design the next set of edge AI chips, which can be embedded in the sensors as well as IoT. So next up, we have Manu from Centara.
Hello, Tim. My name is Manu. I'm the founder and CEO of Centara. I started Centara in 2019 to commercialize the doctoral research that I did with my friend Alessandro at the University of Zurich and ETH Zurich. Before we worked in this company, we were chip designers in the industry, mainly working for Imagination, Apical Imaging, and a few other companies. For example, I has designed components that went onto the iPhone graphics cards, and I have designed a few biomedical chips in my career. Without getting into the long story, to quickly tell you exactly what problem we are solving, we have all seen the dramatic progress that we see in artificial intelligence today. Recent models have surpassed human capabilities in a number of things, playing strategic games, driving cars, robotics, and so on. But the problem is that processing these AI algorithms is typically sent to the server. And this is necessary because these algorithms are just very complex. But when you are dealing with day-to-day devices, you want fast response time and you want data privacy. And this requires that you run the processing on the device itself. And this is where the problem emerges. The problem is really that your smartwatches and your hearable devices have a very small battery. And if you want to run this complex processing, it just simply doesn't do the job. So the AI algorithms that can actually run on devices that you carry are extremely limited. And that's really the problem we are solving. What we have developed is a bunch of technologies that dramatically improves the energy efficiency of chips. So we are talking about up to 500x reduction in energy consumption versus existing solutions. And we do this in a way that is extremely easy to use. So once we give it to our customers, they can integrate our hardware by use of our software into their existing solutions, and they can very quickly productize AI features into their existing products. The way we achieve this is by a bunch of techniques. At the heart of it is the core idea that we really minimize the amount of data traffic between memory and processor. So if you notice, technically the energy consumption comes from how much data you move around, and we really try to minimize that as much as possible. What we have done so far is, obviously we completed our doctoral research and we raised our seed round late last year. We have now assembled a team of 11 engineers who are working on our core technology, and we have set up a partnership with the Swiss Center of Excellence in Microelectronics. It's called CSEM. What we are trying to do now is create our first evaluation chip. We call it Adaptive Storm, which we plan to hand over to our customers so that they can play with our hardware and our software and see if it suits their needs. And in parallel to that, we are also setting up what we call early adopter customers. So these are customers who see value in our technology and are motivated enough to actually engage with us now, even though they don't actually have something they could buy. So we really try to identify these companies and work with them. We have been quite successful in also assembling a good amount of grant funding from Swiss and European governments. So in total, we have raised about 3 million so far in various forms. So the main mission now is to go to the next step. So once the evaluation board is complete, we want to have our first product chip. This will require about 4.5 million spent over the next 3 years. And that's basically what we are fundraising for right now. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, so I can see what the reason you'd want energy efficiency for mining Bitcoin, but I don't think I see why you need energy efficiency in AI chips. Why do people care?
If you think about an existing product that you use all the time, your Apple iPhone, probably, they have a special engine called the neural engine, which is an AI chip. And even Apple recognizes that you need AI processing capabilities on these devices. If they didn't have that chip, it would simply not be possible to do OK Siri or 100 other things that they try to do. Now, we want to shrink that further. We want your watch to have the same capabilities as your smartphone. And we want to introduce new features even into your hearable devices. And think of biomedical applications. If you want to constantly monitor, detect arrhythmia, for instance, you want something that's always on inside your body, the battery never changes. So you do need things that are very efficient, but can do fair degree of complex processing.
So, so what you're doing is you're noticing that there are more O's than ones in any system, and so when you just assume an O, how much of an error? How many errors do you get when you do that?
That's one way to put it. More precisely, the first thing we do is we do not even move the O's and ones. We actually process at the site of the memory itself. So we have created a technology where the memory itself is the processor. And in cases where this custom memory is not able to handle that processing, we reduce the number of O's and ones that go from the memory to the processor. So that really cuts down on the energy consumption by up to 90% or 10x. Depending on how we can fit the network, we can be up to 500 times more efficient than a competing solution.
You know, I had a Samsung phone and I used this software that could identify, like, I put it on a bottle and then I put it on a couch and then I put it on another bottle and it recognized it 86% as that is a bottle and not a couch. And the phone was just burning up. It was so hot. So you would solve that problem, right?
Yeah, it's not just about battery as well. Like you identified, it's also about heating. For example, you might think a drone is mostly concerned with the big motors that drive it that let it fly. But the thing is, they also need to have cooling sinks on the drone, for instance, to cool the chip. And if they use our chip, they don't need that cooling sink. It's actually a massive reduction in cost for them. So there are secondary benefits that come from energy efficiency.
And the Samsung batteries light on fire sometimes. Is this gonna stop that, or will that still happen? That's just lithium ion.
No, I don't think so. That was just a bad battery, Tim.
Yeah. Okay.
We just let people use batteries better.
Any other questions?
I think I'm good. Thank you.
Maybe
terrific.
Thanks, Manu.
Manu, that's great. That's fun.
Thanks, Manu. Thanks.
Maybe
Centara. I can see that the edge AI is going to be everywhere. The distributed ambient intelligence, essentially, and I can see a great future. And these things really need to be really power efficient. Okay, thanks. So I think we'll just take a few minutes. Tim, hopefully we can get some comments and feedback for our presenters today from you.
Sure. Sure.
So you can go in the order that you like, or we can give you.
So do we, what are we trying to come up with? Are we just coming up with a winner, or?
Tim,
I think they're all winners. We don't really have to have one winner, but if you have your favorite, You know, I think
Also some general feedback, I guess, and and pick some things and crystallize on some of the companies.
Tim, you can.
Yeah, I think for a lot of them, a chance to pitch to you is a win, right? So I think that's really
but actually, we do want to select some winners that are going to move on to Meet the Drapers. So we need some winners. Yes, everyone's a winner, but we need a few of those. So however many you feel can qualify for the next round of Meet the Drapers.
Manu, we should terrific. I'm happy to have input from the rest of you, but yeah, I mean, what I'm always looking for is uniqueness and market size, and those and I always look for something where it can't just be easily done by somebody else, and so I mean, I think if I had to choose two to move forward, it would be EarthSense and Centara. I thought EarthSense has kind of a very unique platform and might be a really interesting marketplace. And Centara, I do think that chip development is going to have another renaissance, and nobody's working on it right now. I did love the a lot of the other ones. I mean, the alternative textiles, I think that was really very exciting. I don't know if it's going to work, and so it might be one of those things where I sort of wait until you've got a few shirts made and the ants don't get into your closet. But I know it may be that's not the. I mean, I think she's solved that problem, but it would be good to show a few shirts and let us try it out. I liked First Devices. I thought that was really interesting with the to detect stroke. I don't know how big that market actually does get. So I was a little less, I was more concerned about market size. Chimera. The training for responders, the VR. I think those are really cool, but I think it's going to be one of those things where you've got to figure out what kind of a business you are. I mean, it's a cool product, but I think you got to figure out what kind of business you are and how you can make that into a $1 trillion business, because it's going to be interesting training, and boy, I think it's very needed for the responders. I think that's going to be great. So if we wanted to go with 4 of them, I would pick EarthSense, Centara, Altex, and maybe I'd stop there. Maybe 3. The other ones were great too. I mean, but the chatbots, I thought, God, I don't know if they're going to get that right, and I think it's going to be. I was all excited about chatbots when they got started, and then I realized that they were not providing the kind of customer service that they promised to, and the AI didn't quite work, and and none of them really took off. And I don't know if that's going to change anything. The device to conserve water, I thought, was just a device, and it didn't feel like something that people would be dying to put into their. Maybe hotels will, just to save energy, but I think it would be a little disconcerting for customers to You just step over to pick up some soap and all of a sudden the water stops. So that you can prove me wrong. And then the SaaS for SaaS, I thought was pretty interesting. But boy, I'm concerned. Those first two, I was concerned just because the CIO of every company in the world is just flooded with opportunities to do some sort of a SaaS product. So I was thinking that they may not take off, although Copperwire seems to be making really good progress with the supply chain. So there's my assessment. That was really fun, and you guys are doing great things, and TiE keeps coming through with these amazing companies. So thank you, and that's my assessment. And Sarah.